Indian Constitution, one of the biggest and lengthiest constitution in the world. Hello everyone, welcome to Law Simple and Pure. I'm your host Dr. Vaishali, and in today's lecture we are going to learn some salient features of the Indian Constitution. This topic is important for LLB students, LLM students, JMFC students, UPSC students, and again it is important for LawNet and CLAT students. So try to stay focused. As you know, we go through various points while writing an answer, so we will begin with introduction. In India, constitution is the basic document of land. It means every law made by legislature must be in accordance with the constitution. So it is a basic document of Indian polity. Okay, so CRPC has to be in accordance with constitution. IPC has to be in accordance with constitution. If any provision of any act goes against the constitution, it will be taken out from that act, and that's why it is the most important document of our polity. It is made by Constituent Assembly. Usual laws are made by legislature, but Indian Constitution is not made by legislature but by Constituent Assembly. Constitution was made. Under the Constitution, legislature, executive and judiciary, they were created, and then legislature makes law. So legislature gets law making power from the Constitution. Okay, and that's why we have articles in the Constitution and sections in other acts. It is adopted by the Constituent Assembly. It means it was ready, it was made, it was fully ready on the day of 26th November 1949. But it was enacted. Enacted means came into operation on 26th January 1950. And that's why this is our Republic Day. Republic means which speaks for public, right? So Constitution speaks for public. We the people of India give ourselves this constitution, and that's why we celebrate our Republic Day on the day when Constitution was enacted, because it is a Republic Constitution. So 26th January 1950 is our Republic Day because Constitution was enacted from that day. Enacted means came into operation from 26th January 1950. Indian Constitution replaced Government of India Act 1935. So before Indian Constitution, Government of India 1935 Act was applicable throughout the India, but once Indian Constitution came in picture, this act was replaced. After learning introductory part relating to Indian Constitution, let us go through all the features of Indian Constitution one by one. Number 1. It is lengthiest or biggest constitution in the world. When Indian Constitution was made, help was taken from so many constitution. Constitution of US was referred. Law of UK was referred. Irish Constitution, Canadian Constitution, Japanese Constitution, Australian Constitution, French Constitution, all these constitutions were referred, and important parts were taken or borrowed from these constitutions. And that's why Indian Constitution is the lengthiest constitution in the world. Detailed provisions are made for fundamental rights, for fundamental duties, for directive principles, for rights of citizens, relating to citizenship, detailed center-state relations, special provisions for Jammu and Kashmir, special provisions for so many states like Nagaland, Sikkim, Maharashtra, Gujarat, and so on. Because of these detailed provisions, it became the lengthiest constitution in the world. When it was made, it provided for 394 articles, 12 parts and 8 schedules. Today, it is amended for 104 times, and it has 470 articles, 25 parts and 12 schedules. Okay, so it is amended. Do you know why amendments happen in law? Not because the law is imperfect, but because society changes and some changes in law are needed. And that's why, because of so many amendments, so many changes, because of so many detailed provisions, it became the lengthiest and biggest constitution in the world. Second feature of the Indian Constitution, it provides for sovereignty. Okay, so it provides for sovereignty. And what is sovereignty? Now learn over here. There is a difference between sovereignty and popular sovereignty. Indian Constitution provides for sovereignty plus popular sovereignty. Now what is sovereignty? Sovereignty means a country is able to protect its external boundaries Okay, so we have our own army, navy and air force, and India is able to protect its external borders from aggression or from attack. Okay, so that is external sovereignty. And what is internal sovereignty? India is able to manage its internal order or law and peace in India. So it is internally as well as externally sovereign. And what is popular sovereignty? Government is created by the consent of people, and government stay in picture or in operation till people trust the government. Okay, so India is a sovereign country, and yes, it provides for popular sovereignty. So sovereignty as well as popular sovereignty is provided by the Indian Constitution. Next important feature of Indian Constitution is it's a federal constitution, right? So when Indian Constitution was made, US Constitution was referred. USA is a purely federal country. When Britishers left India, India was ruled by unitary pattern of government because British government is unitary, right? So Indians were already ruled by unitary pattern of government. But policy makers or constituent assembly thought that federalism suits India better because Indian states provides for diversity. Okay, and that's why they borrowed federalism from US Constitution. But what happened? In US, 50 states were initially independent. They came together and they made a constitution. So states enjoy more degree of autonomy, or more powers are given to state in US. But in India, in order to keep the government under control, lesser powers are given to states and more power is given to union government. So India is a federal thing, but it is not purely federal, and it is called as quasi-federal or semi-federal, right? So Indian Constitution is a federal constitution. Federalism is borrowed from United States, but it is not completely or purely federal, but it is quasi-federal or semi-federal. Next thing, single citizenship. Usually in pure federal governments, dual citizenship is provided. Citizenship of state and citizenship of federal government or central government. Plus, US provides for, like, a US citizen can acquire citizenship of some other country. But in India, only single citizenship is provided. A person can be a citizen of India only and not of any state. And secondly, India never allows dual citizenship. So if you want to take Indian citizenship, you have to surrender a citizenship from other country. So India provides for single citizenship. So dual citizenship is not provided by Indian government. Next thing is preamble. Indian Constitution starts with preamble. Preamble provides for the aims Constitution wants to achieve. Okay, so it starts with we the people of India. Okay, we the people of India, it means authority comes from people. Having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, democratic, secular republic, and to secure all justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. And on this 26th January 1950, we adopt, enact and give ourselves this constitution. So preamble provides that real authority comes from people. Okay, what is the nature of preamble? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Okay, now we already know the meaning of sovereignty. Socialist means of production, okay, will not be concentrated in one single hand, but it should be used for the common benefit of all. So we adopted socialism from USSR, today's Russia. Earlier it was United States of Soviet Russia, now it's just Russia. So we adopted socialism, but we adopted mixed economy as well. So it's a mixture of capitalism plus socialism, and we provide for mixed type of economy. So India is a sovereign, socialist, secular. Secularism again we will discuss while discussing, because it is a main feature of Indian Constitution. Democratic republic. What is democracy? Government of the people, by the people, for the people. So in India, people select their government and government makes laws for people. We the people of India. That's why preamble begins with we the people of India give ourselves this constitution. Okay, so this is nothing but democracy. Now what is republic? Republic means people select their representatives and representatives represent them. So like US, they do not directly select the president, but prime minister is elected by the council and all the ministers are elected by people. So ministers represent people. So representing public means republic. Okay, so we have indirect democracy. So, and then again preamble provides for justice, social, economic, political, liberty of thought, expression, faith, belief of, and worship, and then fraternity. So all these features are provided in the Indian preamble. So these are the aims, okay, these are the targets which Constitution wants to achieve. Whether preamble is a part of Indian Constitution? Yes. Okay, there are so many cases on this. S.R. Bommai. So preamble is a part of Indian Constitution. So if there is any confusion while interpreting a constitution, help can be taken from preamble, because preamble is the guiding light. It is introduction to the constitution. It is about the aims constitution wants to achieve. Okay, so these are the features. Now we'll discuss 5 more features. So it is lengthiest constitution. Indian Constitution provides for sovereignty. It provides for federalism. Single citizenship is there provided by Indian Constitution, and preamble of the Indian Constitution is also unique. Now let us go through next features of the Indian Constitution. Next important feature of Indian Constitution, fundamental rights. Before beginning with fundamental rights, students, this is a lecture about salient features of Indian Constitution. I have made all the videos for JMFC, NET students, for CLAT students and for law students. So separate playlists are there on my channel, and my channel is about authenticity and accuracy. It will provide you accurate knowledge of law so that you can crack any MCQ relating to law. And please try to refer my lecture on career opportunities as well. So let us begin with fundamental rights. So Indian Constitution provides for a detailed list of fundamental rights under Article 12 to under Article 35. So from Article 12 to 35, various fundamental rights are provided under Indian Constitution. This provision is taken, like concept of fundamental rights is taken from Bill of Rights in US Constitution, but various fundamental rights are imported from various constitutions in the world. It begins with definition of state, because fundamental rights are enforceable against the state. So if your fundamental right is violated, you can directly go to Supreme Court as a matter of right, and you can go to High Court as a matter of constitutional right. So they are enforceable against state. Then Article 13 is also there, which defines law. It means any law cannot go against the fundamental right, and if it goes, then judiciary will strike it down. So Article 13 judicial review is also provided in fundamental rights. And after providing all the fundamental rights, right, like to equality, Article 14 to 18, various freedoms, various cultural and educational rights, right to education, right to life and liberty, it provides for Article 32. Article 32 is the most important article in fundamental rights. If any of your fundamental right is violated by state, it means your right to life and liberty is violated, or if your right to education till 8th grade is violated, you can directly go to Supreme Court, and that's why it is the most important right. And under Article 32, it is provided that Supreme Court can issue writs for the enforcement of these rights. Habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto, certiorari, 5 types of writs can be issued by Supreme Court, okay, and legislature can confer the same power on any other court within the territory of India to issue writs, and that's how your fundamental rights are provided and protected by Article 32 under the Constitution of India. So fundamental rights are provided first, okay, and they are protected by Article 32. So this is the very important feature of Indian Constitution. On writs, a different video is made. You can refer the video. Directive principles of state policy. Okay. Now, do you know in fundamental rights, some rights are provided, and directive principles also provides for some rights. But they are in the form of directives. Orders are given to state. If you are in a position to provide these rights, please provide. Because when we got independence, India was not a very rich country. So it was not possible for India to provide each and every right as a fundamental right. So some rights, extremely important rights, are given in this chapter, fundamental rights, and some other rights are given in directive principles. And then judiciary started reading directive principles under fundamental rights. You can see my lecture on relationship between directive principles and fundamental rights. It is there on YouTube. Fundamental duties. Okay, so duties are given, or duties are there, which every citizen or Indian citizen is supposed to follow. So these duties are also provided. So fundamental rights are legally enforceable. Directive principles are not legally enforceable. If they are violated, you cannot go to court of law as a matter of right. But if politicians do not follow directive principles, effect will be seen in next election. People will throw them down. So they are called as politically enforceable. And fundamental duties are also again important, because rights and duties are the two sides of a same coin. So rights are provided and duties are also provided under the Indian Constitution. Next feature, adult suffrage. Adult suffrage means universal right to vote. Every Indian citizen, after gaining majority, that is after gaining 18 years of age, will get a right to vote. He can vote and he can select his representative, and it is provided under Article 326 of the Constitution of India. Next important feature is independent and integrated judiciary. What is independent means? We follow the theory of separation of powers. Executive, legislature and judiciary. Three organs are there. They are separate and they will not interfere in each other's powers. And that's why judiciary is given the independent status. Legislature and executive cannot interfere in the judicial work. It is provided on the paper, though some political intervention or control is there in the judiciary. Constitution provides for independence of judiciary. So something is provided on the paper and something happens in reality, but over here we are talking about the feature of Constitution and not the reality. So for the exam purpose, remember this. So do not go into those political or technical details, because question is on salient features of the Indian Constitution. And what is the meaning of integrated judiciary? So these features are provided by Article 92 and 97 of the Indian Constitution. Indian judiciary is independent and integrated. Integrated means we do not follow federalism when it comes to judiciary. We have central government and state government, right? At the center we have central government, at the state we have state government. So in the state government have their own powers, but when judiciary comes, it is integrated. Supreme Court at the apex level, below Supreme Court, high courts of different states, and then district and sessions court. In pure federations like US, Supreme Courts are there in every state. So Pennsylvania has its Supreme Court. New Jersey has its own Supreme Court. But in India, states do not have their Supreme Courts, but they have high courts, and from those high courts, appeal goes to Supreme Court. So there is only one Supreme Court for the entire India. In pure federations, Supreme Courts are there in every state. So we have independent and integrated type of judiciary, and this is a very important feature of Indian Constitution. Now we learned 10 important features of the Indian Constitution. 2 more features are there: judicial review and parliamentary system. What is judicial review? Judiciary has given a power to review a decision or a law. Which law? If a law made by legislature goes against the Constitution, judiciary can review the law and strike it down under Article 13 of the Constitution of India. So judiciary can review legislative law. Judiciary can review executive law as well. So any legislative, executive or judicial law, means judicial decision, will be reviewed by judiciary. So Supreme Court can review a decision of a high court, right? Okay, and if Supreme Court needs to review its own decision, higher judges bench will be constituted and Supreme Court will review its own decision. So if there is a mistake in any legislative law or executive action or judicial decision, it will be reviewed by judiciary. Okay, so judiciary ultimately controls all the actions. Under which articles? Under Article 13, under Article 226, under Article 227, 136, special leave to appeal, and under Article 32. So special powers are conferred on High Court and Supreme Court to review any type of legislative, administrative or judicial mistake. Next is parliamentary sovereignty. What is the meaning of parliamentary sovereignty? In parliamentary sovereignty, Executive is responsible to parliament. Okay, we have two houses of parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. They make law along with the president. So what is parliament or Sansad? Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha plus president, and this is called as Indian Parliament or Indian Sansad. They make laws for India. First, a draft will be made by both the houses of the parliament. When that draft is approved by both the houses, it is called as bill. When that bill is kept before the president of India and approved, then it becomes an act. So lawmaking work is done by parliament, and in parliamentary system, executive is responsible to parliament or answerable to parliament. So these are the important features of Indian constitution. There are 12 features, and there are some other features also, like secularism is one more feature. So everything which is provided in the preamble and Indian constitution, they are the features of Indian constitution. But let us cover secularism as feature number 13 because it is extremely important. What is secularism? Secularism means government will regulate relationship between human being and other human being, but government will not regulate relationship between human being and his god. State will have no religion as a national religion. China is a Buddhist country. US is a Christian country. Japan is a Buddhist country. Pakistan is a Muslim country. But India is the only secular country in the world. Secular country means all the religions are equal in front of law, and law will not interfere in religious matters. Exception, Uniform Civil Code. Different laws are applicable to different religious people. So that is an exception actually. But secularism is one more feature of Indian Constitution. So that's it for the day. Now you know all the features. Try to take notes from this lecture. All the best for all your exams, and stay tuned till my next lecture. Goodbye and good luck.